What's good? It's your boy Twiz. Man, I think I'm making some people mad on the internet, man. Only thing I'm doing is spitting facts about Stadia. Shit, I wanna fight. Who the fuck opened that door? Motherfucker, what are you doing? We're trying to be sneaky up in this bitch. Uberbot, I'm gonna need your help on this one.
I am here, Twiz.
Uber, change to your hater voice, please.
Hater voice activated.
Alright, Uber, bring in the first hater.
It's because you don't know about long-term spending. Stadia is more expensive than a console because you got use the internet. Therefore, if you got to spend $60 to $80 per month, sorry, that is a $1,000 before the games.
Oh man, you can already tell this is gonna be a good one. Okay, this is just a silly argument. Because Stadia is always online, they include the cost of the internet into the cost of Stadia. And it's like, it's completely unrealistic because odds are you're going to have the internet anyway. You're not buying the internet just to have access to Stadia. It's a really strange argument to make. It's kind of like saying, if I go out and get a TV, and of course I need to put the TV inside of a house. So if my house costs, for example, $100,000, they're basically adding on the $100,000 cost of the house to the TV. So now the TV is $100,000 plus whatever I bought it in the store, let's say $500. And I have a really hard time believing anyone's really making that argument with a straight face. It sounds like just straight up trolling, really. But you'd be surprised how many people say stuff like that. They'd be like, oh, it's actually not free because you have to pay for the internet. Come on, let's put him out of his misery. Nobody's looking. You hit him first. Oh shit, you're really gonna do it? I'm not with him. Okay, Uber, continue.
Not to mention a console game, you can get games used on sale from many different locations.
I don't have a problem with this argument on the surface because it is easier to get games cheaper when they're physical discs because you have more options to shop around and more storefronts. But when it comes to buying a brand new hot game, the game everybody's talking about, the game everybody wants to play, it's a different story. It's very rare you'll be able to find that game, even in physical form, below the base asking price. And don't get me wrong, if you are shopping around and finding deals, you're usually finding deals on games that aren't quite new, maybe 6 months to a year old, if not older. We'll see digital storefronts give you sales for those reasons. Man, they forgot that we murdered that guy in cold blood pretty quick, didn't they?
Yeah, right, when we got out of sight.
Ah!
No, a bounty, don't even think of running. My knees aren't what they used to be.
They didn't forget.
At Cullen Dethrone, that has nothing to do with it. Lol, you're spending money on internet regardless, even if you were playing on PC or console.
This guy gets it. Common sense. Good, good.
J-Stroke, you missed the point because you don't understand what I said. I personally don't need internet. Many times I go to a lake house and I play video games, don't need the internet. Stadia is always online and needs a reliable high-speed connection. You don't need that for either console or PC. You can pay like $30 per month versus something like $60 or $80, which is Verizon's gaming packages. And seeing how many people like to play single-player only games, Stadia is going to cost you a lot more than either a console and or PC in within a year or two. Well, I got $60 internet versus $80. But Stadia is a whole lot more expensive than PS Plus, so that $25 per month. So each year you are spending $300 more, and that is not to mention you can't get games from different locations. I could get video games from this one store, and as long as he made a profit he would sell games for like $40 that were $60.
He's combining the cost of the internet and Stadia again, and you know what? That might be an issue for him. He might not be paying for decent internet. He might be choosing purposely not to upgrade to have better internet. So therefore, for him to play Stadia, it would be an additional cost, but that's not the case for most people. Most people already have internet good enough for Stadia. So for them, Stadia is basically free. They're not paying more to play on it. Here, let me show you. The proportion of American adults with high-speed broadband service at home increased rapidly between 2000 and 2010. In recent years, however, broadband adoption growth has been much more sporadic. Today, roughly 3/4 of American adults have broadband internet service at home. And as you can see, more broadband is being adopted by people. There was a moment there in 2017, it looks like, where there was a slight dip, but now it's back up on the rise, and I'm pretty sure even to this day, it's higher. Ah, fuck! I think I just got caught stealing again. The law don't like me.
That combined with the infrastructure, where as of now, the latest report from the FCC says 80% of the US households can have access to 1 gigabit per second internet connectivity.
Yeah, if you keep in mind that this chart is 2 years old, it seems like it lines up. So again, this clearly shows that most people already have the internet required for Stadia. It is not a separate cost. It is not an extra cost. Therefore, it should not be added on to the cost of Stadia. However, If this guy was just talking about himself and his own specific use case, this would not be a video. Who am I to tell him he should upgrade his internet for Stadia? For that case, that would be an increase in cost. He would be paying more. The problem kicks in later, as you will see, where he starts applying it to everyone else. He treats it like everyone else is paying additional money for Stadia, when that's clearly not the case. As you can see, they all have good internet anyway, at least close to 80% of them. So I tried to explain to him that his problem with Stadia was something specific to him and his needs and does not really apply to the majority of people. Again, nowhere did I tell him he needed to upgrade, nowhere did I suggest he did. I was just pointing out that it wasn't a problem with Stadia, it was just a problem with his current use case. And this is how he reacted.
Pickpocket. Yeah, there we go.
Reach your hand right in my pocket and fish it out.
Sorry, I am not. I point out that Stadia needs high-speed internet connection that is reliable, and where I live that is around $80 or more. So that is a $1,000, and you are disingenuous because to have best playable experience you need to get Pro. I don't need that for a PS4. If I wanted to I could have gotten a PS4 Pro for like $200. Hell, so that was a whole lot cheaper than Stadia in short term because it was only $30 more. And if wanted I could have pick up PS Now and seeing how I could download about half of the games. So it's still cheaper than Stadia. Once again, Stadia is not cheaper in the long run because you need the internet. Even with patches I can get most patches on a stick drive and just put it into my PS4 or laptop. Once again, Stadia is a bad business model. If was like Netflix it could work. Games are months old and BL3 it was an older version. Why you are paying $60 for a game that is 2 or 3 months old? I can get games used for like $40. Hell, I can get games new for about that price from a store that does not care as long as they make a profit.
There's a whole lot to break apart here, but look how I replied to him. Seems to me like you're the one being disingenuous. You say you need to pay the monthly Stadia to get the best possible experience, which I guess is true, but then you turn around and admit that you just have a PS4 and not a PS Pro, so you really don't care about the best experience possible. Seems like you're okay with good enough. Let me spell it out for you. The PS4 that you have tops out at 1080. Stadia base, free tier, tops out at 1080. Again, why even bring up the best possible experience if you clearly don't care about it? Disingenuous. Most people already meet the internet requirement for Stadia, 80% of the country. That 80% isn't buying their internet separately just for Stadia, so stop treating it like an additional cost. Again, disingenuous. I had my cell phone before Stadia was a thing, and I will always have a cell phone regardless of Stadia, but it would be disingenuous to tack on my cell phone cost as a cost to Stadia. I get that you don't have decent internet, so for you, I can understand why Stadia isn't right for you, but that doesn't mean it's a problem for 80% plus and growing. Also, the Borderland thing, yes, when at least it was an older patch, but you know what else? Borderland runs smoother on Stadia than it does on the consoles. Don't believe me? I'll show you later, or you can just do your research. There are other benefits to Stadia besides top-notch graphics, though it still compares pretty well to Xbox One X and sometimes better. Convenience, convenience, convenience. So on a side note, I said I would show you the Stadia thing, Stadia version of Borderlands. I'm getting mixed reports when I search for it online. I'm getting some cases saying it runs at a smooth, solid 60 FPS on Stadia, and some cases where it says it's not quite solid. But however, the Stadia version does not go up to 4K. It's maxed out at 1080. However, the Xbox One X version is getting mixed results on 4K and 1080. So I'm not sure which one actually runs better.
Damn Twiz, do your fucking research.
But I tell you what, I recently bought the game, and when I play the game, I will give you an update on it. But for now, I'll just give you this one. You won this one. We'll say Borderlands on the console is better than Stadia, simply because I cannot find details and I haven't tried it for myself. Congratulations. You won one out of how many? At least I didn't have to pay for the hardware, so that in and of itself makes it cheaper. And before I forget, there's a part of what he said that I did not reply to, but let me go ahead and address that now. Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling.
Once again, Stadia is a bad business model. If was like Netflix it could work.
This disingenuous motherfucker. This motherfucker, he literally just said if it was like Netflix it would work. Explain to me how this would work for you if you're not willing to pay for internet. Seriously, man, make up your mind what direction you're coming from. Look how they pivot whenever they're losing the argument. Look how they just change their tactics whenever they're losing. Are you gonna pay for internet or not? God damn, man, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't know the meaning of the word. Uber, what's the definition for disingenuous?
Adjective lacking in frankness, candor, or sincerity, falsely or hypocritically ingenuous, insincere. Her excuse was rather disingenuous.
Yeah, that's you. You are disingenuous, dude.
Disingenuous motherfucker.
Games are months old and BL3 it was an older version. Why you are paying $60 for a game that is 2 or 3 months old?
Look at the screen, dude. Look, what does it say? I bought this 3 days ago. What do you see? $21.90. 3 days ago. 3-month game. You said I paid $60 for it. You want to see where it's going for $60 at? Well, looks like Steam is selling it for $60. Where else we got it at? So you were talking about downloading Borderlands 3 on your America Online quality internet? Damn, same price as Steam. Guess you don't like that, do you? Oh, but that's right, you also argued about physical copies. Okay, let's see what we can do at GameStop. Let's go ahead and order a used copy in the mail from GameStop. Well, look at that, $19.99. Hey, that's a little bit cheaper than what I paid, isn't it? Wait a minute. No, it's not, because first you gotta pay taxes, then you gotta pay shipping and handling. Uh-oh, I think it's gonna be more than what I paid, but look over here. You could get it pre-owned, but you still have to pay tax. You still have to pay shipping and handling, and you got one additional tax. You know what that is? Corona tax. Did you forget we're in the middle of a pandemic?
Welcome to quarantine, you scrub.
Hey man, I hope you passed the test. I tell you what though, either way, it'll be here 3 or 4 days from now. Then you can bring it home, put it inside your console, and install. After about an hour of installing and patching, you might finally be able to play. Or you could just buy it on Stadia for the same price, ignore the Corona tax, and play it right now. You know, the choice is yours, man.
The power is yours.
All right, let's go sell some shit.
I get stuck in a corner.
God damn it! He doesn't like me! The guard doesn't like me! He won't let me sell stuff! Oh, check this out. I think I got him. I think somebody's mad.
Top graphics. I seem to recall it's more powerful than both console and yet can't run anything in true 4K.
Don't get me wrong, many games on Stadia are upscaled, but it does have a few games that are native 4K. But you know why I'm not gonna scour the internet to try to find the information to prove for you? Because this is a disingenuous argument. You don't really care if it runs 4K or not. You don't care about 4K in general. You even said so yourself, you're happy with the base PS4, even though you could upgrade to a PS4 Pro. So why are you making this argument against Stadia? You were just trying to attack Stadia to make it look bad. I'm just trying to use your own logic against you. I'm not even here to defend Stadia. I'm just pointing out how your logic is flawed.
He doesn't even care about 4K.
A PS4 Pro can soak in the Xbox and both are very old.
And I will also point out that many of those games that do run 4K on the consoles, they're also capped at 30 FPS. Most games on Stadia actually reach a true 60 FPS. And most gamers will tell you, including Phil Spencer if you want to look it up, that frame rate is more important than resolution. Xbox head Phil Spencer prefers higher frame rate than resolution. So from that point of view, I think the Stadia version runs better.
Not to mention I don't need any internet to play, which is why the PS4 sold more the Xbox this time around. And once again, when I say the best playable experience, I am talking about no lag.
You disingenuous lying ass motherfucker. That's not what you meant. This is what you said.
To have best playable experience you need to get Pro. I don't need that for a PS4. If I wanted to, I could have gotten a PS4 Pro for like $200. Hell, so that was a whole lot cheaper than Stadia.
You clearly just said to get the best possible experience in Stadia, I need to get Pro. And then you turn around and compare that to the PS4 Pro. So you're obviously talking about what? What do you get for paying for Pro in Stadia? You get higher resolution. You were obviously referring to the higher resolution. And after I proved you wrong, after I proved your disingenuous ass wrong.
Disingenuous motherfucker.
Now you're pivoting on to something else. Now you're talking about input delay. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what they do. Whenever you start proving them wrong, whenever you start winning the arguments, they start pivoting and act like they're coming from somewhere else. They change what they're talking about. Pay attention that people do this.
Well, if I play a single-player games, there really is no lag on a console or a PC unless I am playing by streaming.
I hate to tell you this, but you're wrong again. Even when you're playing locally, there is a delay because your console has to process the inputs. What if I told you that some games played locally actually have more delay than playing in the cloud? Haha, crazy, isn't it?
I found that the amount of latency between depressing the trigger and firing the pistol from the readied position in first person was 385 milliseconds on the 1080p Stadia feed at 60 FPS. The Xbox One X was doing 435 milliseconds with that same action. So it is 29 milliseconds slower, or basically 2 frames of latency slower than the PC version at 60 FPS set up locally. But it is 50 milliseconds faster than the local Xbox One X version, which is running at 30 FPS. But it is 50 milliseconds faster than the local Xbox One X version, which is running at 30 FPS.
And no, I am pointing out the fact that Stadia is not cheaper. I gave the example that if I need to get Verizon's or anyone other internet provider's gaming package, which in case of Verizon is at least $80 per month per O, have the best playable experience with little to no lag, then that is a lot more than paying even $60 per month.
1. Why do you keep combining the cost of internet with the cost of Stadia when you say Stadia isn't cheaper? And then 2, you keep talking about best possible experience, so I assume you mean Stadia 4K, so you have to buy the best package? If you're okay with 1080 on the base PS4, why wouldn't you be okay with 1080 on the base Stadia? Meaning you don't need to buy the best possible package. It's really strange, and you cannot seem to let go of that argument no matter how many times I explain it.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know why I'm helping you guys.
I think I killed a chicken.
Oh, that's a guard?
Guys, we're criminals now.
And if you want the best playable experience on a Stadia, you need to drop $120 per year for Pro, even though none of the games run at true 4K.
You see what I mean by disingenuous? He doesn't even care about 4K. He really doesn't care, because if he cared about it, he would have a PlayStation Pro right now. But he's gonna make that argument to Stadia to try to make it look bad. Dude, I already told you, there actually are some Stadia games that run at true 4K, and even the ones that don't run at true 4K, upscaled 4K still looks better than 1080. So what are you getting at, man? What is your issue here? Oh, I know what his issue is. Check this out. And here we have the classic hater's dilemma. Hate without trying it, or risk finding out that it works. Stadia haters, gotta love them. This meme was brought to you by my homie on the Stadia subreddit, Cup, Plug, Swim. Good find, man.
So $360 per year, and let's said Stadia lasts 7 years, well, that at least $2,500 more. Shit, I can buy a car for that amount, but it's still cheaper than a console or PC and laptop. I just bought a gaming laptop, which is why I didn't buy a PS4 Pro. No, you clearly butthurt that both me and the other guy pointed out that in the long term Stadia is more expensive.
Oh, so I'm butthurt now because you guys keep falsely combining the cost of internet with the cost of Stadia. Let me ask you a question. Do you combine the cost of your house with the cost of your PlayStation? That's just a really weird metric. When you combine the cost of something you're going to pay for anyway with the cost of something you optionally buy later, that doesn't seem at all wrong to you? Yeah, I think we just need to stick to the main quest, and we can do the side quest on our own time.
Is this
the blacks are the... Oh, God, that
The
sounds
what?
so bad.
Excuse me?
the side quest?
The black...
It's not me, Twiz, you know what I mean? It's him.
This is like a weird turn.
Hell, you can't get games used, you only can buy from one storefront, whereas I can both from many different places, and if I buy 12 games per year and I can get them $45 versus $60 on Stadia, I am saving $180, not counting that really probably $120.
Oh yeah, you got me. I'm over here paying $60 for games on Stadia. Yep, you sure showed me I don't have any deals. You obviously never tried Stadia in your life, but you know more about it than me.
By the way, you do know you don't even get the licensing agreement. Yeah, what happened if a company sued Google and wants all their shit off Stadia, and or Google has to pay a fine, and if the courts side with that company, do you still think Google is going to pay a fine? No, they will probably pull their shit and you shit out of luck.
But isn't that true for all digital sales? I mean, I guess if you download your games to a hard drive, you have them on your hard drive until you uninstall them, but your hard drive can only hold so much space, and your hard drive will only live so long. It won't live forever on your hard drive, so there's a chance that over time, you'll lose that data regardless. But I mean, that is a flaw. That could happen. It does happen every once in a while, rarely by the way, with games digitally. It's just part of it. But you know what can happen with physical discs? They can get stolen, you can lose them, they can break, they can get scratched. I mean, if that happens, what do? I feel like you're being disingenuous again. You're just saying whatever sounds good to make your point, even though you know it's highly unlikely that it will ever be a real issue. I mean, if we're doing that, I can play too. What happens if you have a natural disaster, like a fire, a hurricane, a flood? Hell, what if a car crashes through your house and runs through all your games? You know, this stuff has happened before, meaning there's a chance it could happen to you. It's a small and rare chance, but it can happen. But if this is how we're doing our arguments, okay, I'm in.
Once again, Stadia is a bad business model.
What's bad about it? It's just like Steam. Buy your game, play your game. I am so confused.
Hi, you like a bad business model that just means you are moron, but go for you, but don't become a Karen when Stadia goes into the Google graveyard like all the other products.
Like all their other projects? You mean the biggest website in the world, Google? Or perhaps you mean the second biggest website in the world, YouTube? You know, the thing you're currently using? No, that can't be it. You must be talking about the biggest smartphone operating system ever. Android. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know, man. Their record of successes seems more impressive than their record of stuff they might have buried or rebranded.
For the last time I and the other pointed out that Stadia need the internet to work, which cost money, and if in any way have to pay more to get little to no lag, well, it's more expensive in the long term.
And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you know you won the argument. I did not call him any names. I did not insult him. Only thing I did was use logic and also use his own logic against him. Especially that whole disingenuous part. I know that really got to him. When they start calling names, this is how you know you won. He stopped thinking. He stopped trying to have a critical debate, and he just wanted to throw insults. I don't even need to debunk anything else he's saying. Although he can't seem to comprehend the whole, if you're gonna have internet anyway, that it's not really cost. He can't comprehend that, but I'm the moron. I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm gonna let this go. I'm your boy Twiz. Don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for supporting my channel. Laters, y'all.
Disingenuous motherfucker.
Talk to the crew, Chief? Guys, hey, there's a spawn here. Turn around, please. Please turn around. Don't leave us.
Good luck.